The alien marketplace was loud. Creatures from many planets shouted, bargained, and traded under the hot twin suns. Strange smells filled the air, spices, metal, sweat, and something that always smelled like burning. In the middle of this chaos stood a little human girl, no more than 10 years old. Her name was Lila. She wore torn clothes and no shoes. Her face was dirty, her eyes tired, but she was not crying now. She had already cried for many days. Her mother, Mara, sat beside her on the dirty ground, her hands tied, her head low. She had been sick for a week, and the aliens didn't care. To them, she was just a slave. Lila stood on a small box and shouted, "Please make an offer for my mom. She cooks amazing food. Better than anything you've ever tasted." Some aliens laughed. One green-skinned trader said, "I don't want a broken cook." Another, a tall creature with 6 eyes, hissed, "No one wants sick humans. Take her to the pits." Lila's small hands became fists. She shouted again, louder this time, "My mom used to cook for soldiers, Earth soldiers. She can cook anything, you'll never forget the taste." But still no one came forward. Her mother whispered weakly, "Stop it, Lila. No one will help us." "I won't stop," Lila said. "Someone will. Someone has to." Then, from the crowd, a man stepped forward. He looked human, but different. His clothes were dark, dusty. A long coat hid most of his body. On his left arm, something metal shined. A cybernetic arm. His eyes were sharp, and he moved like someone who had seen too many wars. The traders went quiet. This man was not a regular buyer. He stopped in front of Lila. His voice was calm. "You said your mom cooks?" "Yes," Lila said quickly. "She can cook anything. Real food, not this slime. You won't be sorry." The man looked at Mara. She didn't raise her head. He asked, "What's her name?" "Mara, and I'm Lila." He nodded once, then turned to the alien trader, a fat, slimy creature with 4 arms. "I want both," the man said. "The girl and her mother." The trader laughed. "The girl is healthy, the woman is sick. Why take both?" "I don't like repeating myself," the man said, his voice cold. The trader rolled his eyes. "Fine, 10 credits for the girl. 5 for the dying one." The man reached into his coat and pulled out something small, a silver disc with strange symbols. The trader's eyes went wide. That's Earth tech." "Forbiddance," the man smiled. "Still worth something, isn't it?" The trader looked around, nervous, then snatched the disc from the man's hand. "Take them and go. Before anyone sees." Lila jumped down from the box. She grabbed her mother's hand. "Come on, Mama, we're going." But Mara pulled back. "Why is he helping us?" The man didn't answer. He simply cut the ropes on her wrists and lifted her gently to her feet. "You'll understand soon," he said. "We have to move now." As they left the marketplace, Lila looked back one last time. No one cared. No one followed. To them, humans were nothing, but not to him. They walked quickly through dark alleys and old loading docks. The man didn't speak much. Lila watched him closely. His face was calm, but alert. His metal arm moved like it was part of him. "Who are you?" she finally asked. The man replied, "Call me Reed." "Why did you save us?" He didn't stop walking. "Because someone saved me once. Now it's my turn." They reached a rusty gate that led to an old cargo yard. Behind the gate was a large ship, old, scratched, and dirty. But it had a name painted on the side. Freeborn. Reed opened the ship's door. The inside was cleaner, simple, but strong. Lila helped her mom inside. There were beds, food packs, even blankets. It didn't feel like a prison. It felt safe. Mara whispered, "Are you one of the resistance?" Reed didn't answer right away, then said softly, "I used to be. Now I save who I can." He looked at Lila. She never gave up, he said. Even when no one listened. That's rare. Lila smiled for the first time in many days, but outside the cargo yard, in the shadows, a pair of red eyes watched them. The deal had been made. But peace was far away. The ship door closed behind them with a hiss. Inside, everything was quiet, almost too quiet. Lila had never heard silence like this since Earth fell. No shouting. No crying, no chains. Just the soft hum of the ships. Old engine, Reed walked ahead, calm but quick. The hallway lights flickered. Wires hung from the ceiling like vines in a jungle. It didn't look like a hero's ship. It looked like a broken promise, but Lila didn't care. To her, it felt like freedom. Her mother, Mara, was weak. She held Lila's hand tightly, breathing hard. Reed looked back and slowed down. You need rest, he said. Come. He opened a metal door. Inside was a small room with a bed, a sink, and a table. Mara sank onto the bed like her bones were too heavy. This isn't a cage. She whispered. No, Reed said. This is a home for now. He handed her a sealed drink. Med patch is on the wall. Use it. It'll help with the fever. Mara looked at him with tired eyes. Why are you doing this? What do you want? From us? Reed didn't answer right away. He looked down at his metal hand, the part of him that was no longer human. Let's just say, I owe someone, he finally said. And your daughter reminded me what humans used to be like. Lila followed Reed into the ship's control room. The windows showed the stars, cold, endless, silent. She stood close to the glass, staring at them. Have you been to Earth? She asked. Reed paused. Yes, a long time ago. Before it was burned. Lila frowned. My mom says Earth isn't dead, just lost. Reed turned to her. She might be right. But even if Earth is gone, humans are not. We survive. That's what we do. He pressed a button. A screen lit up. It showed maps, dots, movement. What is that? Layla asked. Trouble, Reed said. Thought the market trader had taken the Earth tech. That was dangerous. There were rules in this part of the galaxy. And humans weren't allowed to own such tech anymore. Not after the war. Not after what humanity did to survive. We have maybe one day, Reed said. Before someone starts hunting us. Lila looked up. So you'll leave us? Reed looked at her sharply. No, I said you're safe. That means I stay. Or I die trying. Later that night, Reed brought Mara a bowl of food. Not just rations, real food. Smoked protein, hot broth, even salt. She took one bite. Her eyes filled with tears. This is from Earth, she whispered. Reed nodded. Stolen, years ago. Kept safe. Why? Mara asked. Because we forget things, Reed said. The taste of food. The warmth of family. The feeling of being free. I didn't want to forget. She looked at him again. Not like a stranger. Now, but like a memory. A soldier, maybe. Or something more broken. You weren't always like this, she said softly. No, he replied. I was worse. Suddenly, a red light flashed in the hall. A warning alarm. Tracker signal, Reed said. Someone activated the tech I gave away. He opened a panel on the wall and pulled out a gun, smooth, silent, deadly. There. Coming, he said. We have maybe an hour. Mara stood slowly. What will you do? I'll take you to a place where they won't follow, Reed said. A place where humans still remember who we are. Is it safe? Lila asked. No, Reed said honestly. But it's better than here. They moved fast. Lila helped. Her mom walked, and Reed kept checking the radar. The screen now showed a small red dot, following them from orbit. A bounty hunter, he said. Probably not alone. Lila was scared. Why do they want you? Reed didn't blink. Because I broke the rules. I started helping humans, That's enough. They reached the cockpit. Reed sat in the pilot's chair. His fingers moved fast, like he had done this 1,000 times. The ship rumbled. Engines roared as they lifted off. Lila watched the world below grow smaller. That horrible market, the cages, the people still trapped, all shrinking away into the dark. Hold on, Reed said. He pushed the throttle. The ship vanished into light, somewhere far behind. In a quiet room on the planet, the alien trader replayed the video from the market. A tall man with a metal arm. Earth tech. Human rescue. He sent a message to someone very powerful. He's back, the trader said. The ghost of Earth. He took 2 slaves. The reply came instantly. Track him. Don't let him reach the free zone. Back on the ship, Reed looked at the stars. He spoke quietly, almost to himself. You're not slaves anymore. You're passengers. And passengers have a destination. He didn't say where. But the stars listened. And the war was not over. The stars rushed past the window like white rain. Lila sat in the co-pilot's chair, swinging her legs slowly. She had never flown through space before, not like this. Not in a real ship. Not with freedom. Reed piloted the Freeborn with one hand, his human hand. His other, the metal one, rested on his lap, fingers twitching as if remembering battles. Where are we going? Lila finally asked. Reed didn't look at her. To a place no one talks about. A place where humans don't bow. Is it real? Reed's voice was calm. If it isn't, we die trying. In the ship's back room, Mara slept. Her face was peaceful now, not afraid, not sick. Layla had never seen her mother sleep like that since Earth fell. The food, the medicine, the silence. It was healing her, but healing takes time, and time was not on their side. 3 hours later, the ship slowed. The engines grew quiet. Leela looked out the front window, but there was nothing there. Just black space. No planets. No stars. Only a shadow. Is that a moon? Lila asked. No, Reed said. That's the cradle. As they got closer, the shape became clearer. It wasn't a planet. It was metal, broken, massive, ancient. A floating junkyard hidden in a dead zone between systems. A ship, Lila whispered. Reed nodded. A graveyard of ships, all forgotten, all dangerous. The Freeborn slipped through a narrow opening, past floating pieces of metal and dead satellites. Lila saw broken ships, cracked domes, Earth flags faded by time. How do you know this place? She asked. I helped build it, Reed replied. The ship docked with a soft click. Inside the cradle, it was dark and cold. Reed lit a blue torch and walked ahead. Leela followed him, nervous but curious. Her boots crunched on metal dust. The corridor was full of old Earth tech, things no one was allowed to have anymore. A poster on the wall read, Stay human, stay free. Lila touched it. Did you fight in the war? Reed stopped. I didn't fight. I survived. There's a difference. They reached a large room with a clear dome ceiling. The stars peeked through cracks. Machines stood in silence, old, forgotten weapons and tools. This was a safe house once, Reed said. Now it's just a story. But we're here, Leela said. So the story isn't over. Reed looked at her. You sound like someone I knew. Who? She asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he pressed a button. A wall panel opened. Inside was a black box with glowing blue lines. Lila stepped closer. What is it? Reed whispered. Hope. Back on the Freeborn, Mara woke up. She stood slowly and walked to the front window. She saw the cradle, the metal ruins floating. In the dark, her heart sank. This place. It's full of ghosts, she said softly. Then she noticed something strange, a red blinking light on the control panel. Her eyes widened. A tracker. We've been followed. She whispered. In the dark outside the cradle, a small ship floated. Silent, invisible. Inside, a bounty hunter smiled. There you are, he said. He tapped a message. Target found. Reed is hiding in the cradle. Prepare strike. Inside the cradle, Reed handed Lila the black box. This is a data core, he said. It has Earth's last recipe database. Real food, real knowledge. Your mom will understand it. Lila blinked. Recipes, like cooking? Yes, Reed said. The taste of Earth, the kind of things that bring people together. It's not just about food. It's about memory. Suddenly, his hand froze. His eye twitched. He pulled up a device. The red light blinked. They found us. He grabbed Lila's hand. We go now. They ran back to the Freeborn. Mara was ready, holding a wrench. They're close, she said. Reed jumped into the pilot's chair. Strap in. We're flying blind. Lila looked out the window and saw it. A shadow ship. Black, sharp, silent. It was locking onto them. We won't make it, Mara shouted. Reed didn't blink. Yes, we will. He flipped a hidden switch. Suddenly, the Freeborn's engines glowed blue. Not normal blue, but something older, stronger. Forbiddens. This ship has secrets too, Reed said. Like me. The ship shot forward, breaking out of the cradle. Just as missiles exploded behind them. Metal flew like fireworks. The shadow ship followed. Where are we going now? Lila shouted. Reed looked ahead. To find the last colony, he said. The one that still calls itself human. He looked at the stars again, and maybe, to finish what we started. Space was fire now. The Freeborn shook violently as it escaped the wreckage of the cradle. Behind them, the bounty hunter's ship flew like a shadow with teeth, silent, fast, and hungry. Lila gripped her seat tight. Are they still following? Yes, Reed said without emotion. And there. Faster. Mara sat next to her, breathing heavy, holding onto the side rail. They're trying to kill us? She asked. Reed's eyes narrowed. No, they're trying to kill me. The bounty hunter's ship was called the Black Fang. Its pilot was not fully alien, not fully machine, something in between. His name had been erased long ago. Now they called him Rex. He stared at the screen, watching the Freeborn dance through debris and asteroid clouds. Keep running, Ghost, he whispered. But you know how this ends. He loaded a weapon, an old Earth missile, stolen and twisted with alien tech. Let's see if you bleed like the rest. Inside the Freeborn, alarms screamed. A missile locked on. Reed flipped switches. We'll have to drop into the shadows. What shadows? Mara shouted. Reed didn't answer. Instead, he punched in coordinates. The ship dove down into a thick asteroid belt, jagged, deadly rocks spinning in every direction. Lila looked out the window. We'll crash. Reed's voice was ice. Only if I blink. The Freeborn weaved through the spinning rocks, diving. Twisting, sparks flew from the hull. Metal scraped. Every move was 1 second from death. WREXX followed, smiling. You've still got it, Ghost, but I've got toys now. He fired the missile. The missile flew fast. Too fast. Reed saw it coming. He turned the Freeborn sharply toward a massive asteroid, then fired a charge. The charge exploded. The asteroid shattered. And the missile flew right into the debris. Boom. A silent blast of light filled the darkness. Lila screamed. The ship shook. Alarms died. Then, silence. Reed leaned back. That's one, he said. But Rex wasn't done. He opened a secret panel on his ship. Inside was a silver container, glowing. Time to break the rules, he whispered. He injected the core into his engine. The Black Fang disappeared in a flash and reappeared beside the Freeborn. Rex activated the comm. Hello again, Reed. Reed froze. Lila looked at him. You know him? Reed said nothing. Rex's voice came through the speaker. Do they know what you did on Valor 9? Do they know what kind of ghost you really are? Mara looked at Reed. What's he talking about? Reed kept flying. Old wars. Old scars. Rex spoke again. Surrender the girl and her mother. You can go free. Just like last time. Lila stood. Last time? What's he mean? You gave someone up? Reed didn't look at her. I did what I had to do. Rex chuckled. And people died. A colony burned. He ran. Mara stood now too. Is it true? You ran? Reed whispered, yes. The ship went quiet. Then Reed stood, left the cockpit, and opened a hidden drawer. Inside was a small box, locked with his fingerprint. He opened it. There was an old photo, a woman and child. A different time. And below it, a gun, silver, earth-made. Burned at the barrel. He took it and looked at Leela. I made one mistake. I won't make two. Outside, Rex powered up his ship's main cannon. One shot. One grave, he muttered. But before he could fire, something happened. Reed's ship stopped, dead in space. No shields? Rex said, giving up. But Reed had opened the cargo bay and stepped out in a small armored pod. Flying toward Rex. You want me? Reed said, overcome. Come take me. Lila watched from the window. Her heart was racing. Mara stood beside her. He's not running now, she said softly. Rex opened fire. Reed dodged, flying fast. Using asteroid shadows to hide. He reached the black fang, latched onto the side, and fired his gun. One shot, straight into the engine vent. Boom. The bounty ship exploded. Reed's pod flew back. Damaged, spinning, burning. Lila screamed. He's hit. Mara ran to the cockpit. She took the controls. Her hands shook, but she flew the ship forward, fast. Leela cried, please. We have to catch him. The ship caught the pod just before it, drifted into the gravity of a dead moon. They pulled him in. He was bleeding. A lot. In the med room, Mara patched his side. His face was pale. You almost died, she said. Reed smiled. Leela held his hand. You came back, she said. He nodded. I said I would. She leaned close. Why did you save us? Reed's voice was weak. Because I didn't save the last ones. I ran, but not this time. He closed his eyes. Lila whispered, you're not a ghost. Outside the window, the stars were quiet again. But somewhere, far away, a signal beeped. A fleet was coming, and this time, they weren't just hunting one man, they were hunting hope. 3 days later, the Freeborn came out of hyperspace, quietly, slowly, like a wounded bird returning home. Before them was a planet that didn't appear on any maps. No lights, no signal, no name, only dust clouds and mountains that looked like broken bones. Reed whispered, welcome to Hollow-Reach. The ship landed in a hidden valley between cliffs, near an old metal tower with faded earth flags painted on its side. Lila pressed her face against the window. Is this it? The human colony? Reed nodded. One of the last. Maybe the only one left. Mara frowned. It looks abandoned. Reed stood slowly, still bandaged. That's on purpose. As they stepped off the ship, armed humans greeted them. Their faces were hard, their clothes patched, their eyes cold. One woman stepped forward. Her voice was sharp. You brought outsiders here? Reed raised both hands. I brought family. The woman stared at him, then sighed. Same. Old Reed, still dragging ghosts behind you. They were taken to a large shelter built into the rocks, part bunker, part village. Inside, Leela saw children, old men, and women repairing gear, growing food in small pods, and watching every move they made. She leaned toward her mom. Why does everyone look angry? Because, Mara whispered, hope is dangerous here. In the meeting hall, the colony leader, Captain Everin, listened as Reed explained. She cooked for soldiers. Reed said, nodding at Mara, she kept people alive with taste. With memory, she can help here. Everin stared at Mara. Can you cook like Earth is still alive? Mara met her gaze. I can make one meal. That's all I ask. If no one remembers the taste, we'll leave. Evren was silent, then nodded. One meal. The kitchen was small, rusted, cold, but Mara walked in like it was sacred ground. She unpacked the recipe core Reed had given her. It projected holograms, ingredients, measurements, techniques. Lila watched her mom's hands move. With purpose, steady, confident, she mixed spice rubs. Boiled broth, roasted protein. Pan-fried root slices from hydro farms. The smell was earth. People outside the hall began to gather. They weren't sure why. Their feet moved before their minds did. That night, the food was served in silence. No speeches, just plates. A child cried after the first bite. Not because it was hot, because it tasted like memory. Like home, like something lost. Found again for 1 second. One man stood up with tears in his beard. I remember this. My mom used to make this on birthdays. Woman held her stomach. I thought I forgot this flavor. Captain Evren didn't speak. She simply ate, closed her eyes, and nodded. After the meal, Red stood outside with Evren. The stars were clear over Hollowreach. You win again, she said quietly. Food beats guns. Red didn't smile. That wasn't a trick. That was survival. Evren looked at him. Sideways. But why bring them now? Why really? Reed didn't answer. So she added, we're not a safe place anymore. You know that, right? Someone betrayed our last location. Someone inside. Reed went still. You think it was me? He asked. Evren shook her head. Not you. But maybe someone following you. Back in their quarters, Lila sat with her mom. That was the best dinner I've ever had, she said. Mara smiled softly. Not the best I've ever made. Lila leaned close. Do you think we'll stay here? Mara looked around the small room. No one stays forever in a place like this, she whispered. But maybe long enough to matter. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the colony, someone placed a communicator under a storage bin. A soft red light blinked. Then a silent signal was sent across the stars. Reed is here, with 2 civilians. Hollowreach is vulnerable. Later that night, Reed sat alone, sharpening a knife. Not for fighting, just to remember what silence felt like. Lila walked in, sleepy. Why don't you sleep like normal people? She asked. He didn't look up. I did once. Who was in that photo you keep? She asked. He froze. Then said, my wife and daughter. Where are they? Reed paused. Gone, like a lot of things. Leela sat beside him. But not everything, she said. You're still here. He didn't speak, but his hand stopped shaking. Outside, the stars were calm, but far beyond them, 6 ships changed direction toward Hollowreach, carrying fire, carrying war. And this time, it wouldn't just be about one man. This time, they were coming to burn hope itself. The wind on Hollowreach whispered strange things. It blew through cracks in the rocks, rattled old solar panels, and made even the guards turn their heads. The colony had no sky alarms, no defense towers, just old habits and sharp instincts. Reed didn't sleep that night. He sat at the edge of the cliff, watching stars blink on and off in the cold black above. His metal hand moved slowly across the handle of his knife, sharpening it not for use, but to think. Something's off, he muttered. Inside the bunker kitchen, Mara cleaned up quietly. She had never seen so many people cry over food before. But that wasn't pride she felt, it was pressure. She was no longer invisible. People knew her name now. Some even said, you made me feel human again. But kindness could be a disguise, and attention could be a target. She heard a sound. A footstep that didn't belong. She turned, but no one was there. Just shadows. Lila was in the colony schoolroom. One of the kids had found a music player, old, dented, but still working. They played songs from Earth, soft, strange, full of memories. One girl asked, Did Earth really have trees? Leela smiled. Yes, my mom told me about a tree outside our kitchen. It smelled sweet when it rained. Another boy said, I think the stars are lying. I think Earth is still out there, waiting. Layla wanted to believe that too, but suddenly, her body went cold. She stood. The music stopped, and outside, something exploded. Reed was already running. Smoke rose from the north gate. Then, screams. Gunfire. Chaos. He grabbed his rifle from the wall and shouted to the guards, form up. There. Not here to negotiate. Captain Everin ran beside him. How did they find us? Reed's jaw clenched. We were followed, or... He stopped himself. Everin's eyes narrowed. Or what? Reed didn't answer, but the thought was there. They were already inside. Layla and the other kids were pushed into a back room. One of the teachers sealed the door. Don't make a sound, she whispered. Outside. Boots hit the floor. Not the heavy steps of humans. These were lighter. Faster. Alien. One shadow moved past the window. Tall. Armored. Carrying a blaster shaped like bone. Lila held her breath. Then she saw something that made her heart freeze. The intruder was wearing a human-made jacket. Not stolen. Not looted. It belonged here. Reed reached the command post. He tapped into the cameras. The images told him everything. Multiple intruders. Hybrid weapons. Precise entry points. Someone had sent them maps. Someone gave them the blueprints, he said. Everin cursed. We're surrounded. They're not here to take over, Reed said grimly. They're here to wipe us out. In the medbay, Mara helped treat the wounded. She tore clean cloth with trembling hands. One soldier bled badly. It was a setup, he whispered. They knew everything. Another survivor said, we opened the gates. And they were already waiting. Mara stood still, her face pale. She remembered the face of a man who had smiled at her after the meal, a little too long, too friendly. He hadn't been seen since she dropped the bandage. Explosions rocked the colony. Reed led a group through the east tunnel, trying to reach the kids. They'll go after the future first, he said. That's how monsters think. Blaster shots echoed in the stone. Reed turned the corner and saw the teacher wounded, guarding the door. He fired without hesitation, dropping 2 invaders. He reached Lila and grabbed her hand. You stay with me, he growled. She didn't argue. Back in the command post, Captain Everin pulled up life scans. 3 heat signatures moved toward the control room. Her finger hovered over the lockdown trigger. Then the door behind her hissed. She turned. Too slow, a familiar voice said. I told you kindness would kill. This place. She barely saw the gun before it fired. The colony's power flickered. Emergency lights turned red. The intercom crackled. This is Rex, you remember me? Reed's blood turned to ice. You survived, he whispered. The voice continued. I warned you, Ghost. You should have let her go. You should have stayed dead. Lila looked at Reed. You said you killed him. I did, Reed replied. But some ghosts come back. Reed got the children to a bunker below the kitchen. He sealed the door behind them. Mara was already there. She looked at Reed, her voice shaking. You brought him here. Reed didn't answer. He looked at Leela instead. I need you to be brave, he said. Leela's eyes burned. I already am. He handed her a small device. This is the last backup of the recipe core. If we fall, you protect this. She nodded, tears forming. Reed turned back to the hatch. And walked into the fire. Above. The colony burned. But beneath it, in the shadows of ruin, a recipe survived. Not just for food, but for what it means to be human. The fire had eaten the colony. Ash fell from the sky like gray snow. Metal structures groaned, then collapsed. The bunker doors above the kitchen were sealed tight, hidden under rubble. Inside, silence. Then a single sound. A beep. The backup core in Lila's hand flickered to life. She had pressed something, maybe on purpose, maybe by instinct. But now a small blue light glowed, and a message began to play. It was Reed's voice. Old. Recorded, long before HoloReach. If you're hearing this, then I didn't make it. Lila and the children sat quietly in the bunker. Mara wiped dust from her face, holding her daughter's hand. Reed's voice continued. I was never a hero. I ran from battles. I saved people too late. But one thing I learned is that humanity doesn't die from war. It dies when we forget how to share a meal, when we forget the taste of peace, the warmth of food, the reason we ever built homes. The children didn't speak, but some started to cry. Outside, bodies lay still, human and alien, but in the broken sky above the colony, something moved, a small rescue drone. Then another. Then 20. They had received the message, not the war signal, the recipe. Backup. The core hadn't just stored cooking instructions. It carried flavor scans, cultural records, family stories attached to each dish. It was never just food. It was proof that Earth had lived, that it still lived, through memory, through taste, through the will of a girl who wouldn't let her mother be sold. Back in space, far from HoloReach, a transmission reached a hidden station. A man in a worn uniform opened the file. He played the message, and he heard Reed's voice say, "We are not soldiers anymore. We are survivors. We are story keepers, recipe makers, memory holders. And that's what makes us dangerous to those who want us forgotten." The man stood, turned to his crew, and nodded once. "Find them," he said. "Anyone still alive? We answer this call." Days passed. Then the bunker doors cracked open. A rescue crew in patched armor helped the survivors climb out. Lila blinked in the sunlight, holding the core tightly. One woman from the crew kneeled and asked, "Are you the one who sent the signal?" Lila nodded. Double quotes this, she said, holding up the recipe core. "Is all that's left?" The woman smiled. "That's all we needed." They buried Reed on the highest point of HoloReach. No body, just a piece of his metal arm, recovered from the wreckage. Mara placed a small dish beside the marker. Bitter tea with crushed pepper, his favorite. The wind moved gently. As if it remembered him too. Later, aboard the rescue ship, Leela stared at the stars through the glass. She didn't cry. She just whispered, "We didn't burn. We baked." Mara smiled, tired but proud. "Your father would have liked that," she said. Lila blinked. "My father?" Mara looked out at the stars and said nothing. Elsewhere, in the heart of a dying galaxy, the last original Earth beacon blinked awake. It had been silent for 42 years. But now, it had a reason to shine again. Its old systems powered up. A message played on loop.